Hello, leaders, and welcome to the Friday edition of this week's Leadership Challenge of Employee Engagement. All week, we've talked about little things you can do to get your team members to be more engaged at work. Well, today we're going to talk about another pitfall that is a big cause of your team members disengaging at work. And that's the challenge of not having clarity on their job specifics and/or what's expected of them. Welcome to Run to Your Challenges. This is the daily leadership show that's designed specifically for mid-level leaders and team leaders. Every week I discuss a different leadership challenge and give you encouraging tips to help you and your team run to your challenges. As a reminder, you can pick up your free Engaging Team Members Guide at runtoyourchallenges.com. You can find it under the podcast tab. This guide will give you notes of this week's podcasts and serve as a reference guide for you and your entire team in the future. Well, today we're going to talk about how you can not only gain engagement, but also how you can set your team members up for mega success. All right, let's dive in. So if you've ever worked for a job where you weren't quite sure exactly what was expected of you or what all your roles and responsibilities were, man, you know how frustrating it can be. I mean, when several people on the team are unsure of what their role is and what their responsibilities are and what their specific tasks are, it can create confusion, miscommunication, duplication of work, and worst of all, employee disengagement. You basically get to the point where you are so frustrated that you start to just pull away from your job and shut down. Well, here's a few tips to avoid this major productivity killer. First of all, establish clear roles, goals, expectations, and responsibilities for your entire team. Have a primary team member who is responsible and then have an alternate, aka a backup, in case the primary is out or sick or on vacation. Now let me tell you, all of these roles and goals and expectations isn't just something that's memorized and briefed by you and for your team members to hear. This has to be a document, and you must sit down with your entire team and go over each category in minute details and make sure everyone understands exactly what their specific roles and responsibilities are. Have a detailed checklist and have your team members initial off next to each role and responsibility stating that they understand. Then have them print and sign their name at the bottom of the paper. When people have to sign and print their name to something, it usually gets them engaged pretty quickly, and they usually ask a lot of clarifying questions. And from my experience, if they don't ask questions, you should probably ask them some questions to make sure they do understand. Now, if you perform this first step of making sure and going over it in detail and making sure they initial it and sign it, it makes everything else easy. You can now hold your team members accountable for their specific roles and responsibilities because they have acknowledged that they understand everything. Before I go any further, let me assure you, this isn't just to burn your people when they screw up. On the contrary, this step sets them up for success because you walk them through everything. This document where they initial is just as much for their benefit as it is yours because it ensures that you're doing your job to make sure that it's very clear to them and they know what's expected of them. One final thing that you can do in this step is to include your entire team in setting team goals and acceptable and unacceptable behaviors. Now, you can do this by having a brainstorming session until they all agree on a set of goals and behaviors. Then be proud of these goals and behaviors. Frame them and hang them on a wall so everybody can see. This is a proud moment because it's something that the entire team has come up with together. And this is a sure way to boost engagement because they were actually involved. They had a say in what was going on. Well, I'm going to cut it off right there. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and be sure to listen tomorrow for the weekend edition when we talk about how you can increase your employee engagement in your meetings. And next week, we're going to be discussing the leadership challenge of leading older people. I've had quite a few requests for this challenge, and man, I'm excited to dive in. As always, please share this briefing with other leaders, especially your HR directors and your CEOs, so your entire organization can run to your challenges together. And don't forget to grab your free Engaging Team Members Guide at runtoyourchallenges.com. Hey, I really appreciate you for listening, and until tomorrow, run to your challenges.